What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another FPL video. My name is Mo, and today I'll be going through my current and latest FPL draft, which is only less than a week away, guys, now. So I'll be going through what my thought processes are, what changes I've made, injuries, change of formation, change of thought process, a bit more insight in players as well. So I'll go through all my rationale around why I selected the team I have. So before we get stuck into it, guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to the FPL INKLING channel, hit that subscribe button and hit the like button too as well. So it's been about a week since I kind of played around with my team, and I kind of thought, you know what, now it's a good time to actually have a review of what my team looked like and what I wanted to make in terms of changes. So the biggest change is the formation. So I was playing a 3-5-2. Now INKLING, it has become injured, and then also Gabriel Jesus is going to miss the first couple of weeks as well. So it doesn't leave me with much striker options. I don't really want to go for Darwin Núñez. I don't want to go for Ollie Watkins. I don't really want to play Wilson in terms of his first couple of game weeks. So I've kind of gone for a bit of a change of formation, and I'll give you guys my rationale behind it. Now this team on AI, I had it kind of rated on one of the fantasy football tools websites at 97%, and in game week 3 and 4 it's rated as 100% with the team I've got. So I'm really happy with the outcome of it. But let's go through my rationale around who I've selected and why. So one of the kind of stalwarts in my team since joining was Onana. So I have tripled up on Manchester United. Onana is in goal. I haven't gone for Luke Shaw. The fixtures, you've got Wolves, Spurs, Nottingham Forest, Arsenal and Brighton, the first 5. Now, I really want to take advantage of the United players for at least the 2 home games for game week 1 and 3, which is Wolves and Nottingham Forest. So with that, I think what we'll have with Onana is we've got some solidity. I think United will keep clean sheets. There'll be save points, distribution points. So again, he's owned by nearly a quarter of the game already. 23% of managers own him. And I think the fact that Ramsdale now has Raya, so that's going to be a bit of competition there. More people will probably go on towards Onana at the moment to have in their squad. But Flecken might be a popular choice because he'll be Brentford's number 1 ideally. Moving on to the defensive line, so we come in with John Stones. 27.5% of managers own him at the moment. So the reason why I've gone for John Stones in defence, so I've watched him very closely pre-season. He's played in this inverted defender role, so he's pretty much in front of the defensive line. A good presence from, let's say, set pieces. He scored in pre-season as well. Manchester City's fixtures, we'll go through it in detail. I think in the first 8 game weeks, that Wolves game, they're all winnable games for them, so you want to triple up on them. I've had moments where I've tripled up on the attack, but now I think John Stones, it's nice to have some defensive cover from Manchester City. Yes, they'll be the best team scoring, but they'll also be the best team in terms of clean sheets as well. And I expect, John Stone to be the most nailed on in terms of defenders who will be playing the game in itself. So that's why John Stones comes in my back line. So Gabriel and Saliba both are in my squad. So we've already talked about Arsenal's fixtures, and let's go through it in a bit more discussion. Forest, Palace, Fulham, Manchester United, Everton and Spurs, and Bournemouth in the first 7. Now, a lot of teams have doubled up on the Arsenal attack. I've doubled up on the Arsenal defence. So Saliba and Gabriel are both in my squad. Good value, 10 million for 2 of the best centre-backs in the league, and I think I should get a few clean sheet points to start off with. So that's why I've gone for both Saliba and Gabriel. In terms of defence, I don't have Estupiñán at the moment, so I have Chilwell in. I watched Ben Chilwell play pre-season, played really well for Chelsea in the kind of pre-season tour. The first game, yes, it's against Liverpool, it's at home. Am I looking for a clean sheet? Potentially not, but an attack in return, most likely. So I think that's a good choice for us to have in terms of, Ben Chilwell in there. I could so easily play Estupiñán for the first game and then change him off, because I really want to see whether it's James or Chilwell in the first game against Liverpool, who do, more of a press. That could be seen, but I think Ben Chilwell ideally will be in my squad in game week 1. If not, I could bring in Estupiñán and just take the first game for them in terms of Brighton, and then move Ben Chilwell maybe even in game week 3 when the fixtures do change. So I've got an option to bring him in later, but at the moment he's in my squad to complete my back line. In midfield, continuing in Manchester City, I've got Kevin De Bruyne. 25 returns last season. He's owned by 11% of managers. The massive decision is going to come on the weekend when he plays Arsenal in the Community Shield. Now, if he starts, he remains in. And let's say there's any doubt about him starting next week against Burnley, I could always let's say bring in another player alternative, maybe even Son against Brentford. There are players that I can bring in, barring Salah. Pretty much every other player I can bring in because of his price point. So Kevin De Bruyne is in, and if he does start, he's going to remain in my team. The next player who's caught popularity since I've owned him since the start of the game itself at 13.2% is Eze. I've already talked a lot about him. Main talisman at Crystal Palace. He gets the job done. With Zaha going out, Elise being injured, more likely to be on set pieces in terms of penalties, corners, free kicks. So I think with Crystal Palace, they have a mixture of fixtures. Under Roy Hodgson, he really caught fire at the end of the season. After Salah, I think it was Eze who was the most successful midfielder. So Sheffield United, Arsenal at home, Brentford away, Wolves, Villa, Fulham, all very good games. I expect him to score in a few of those games. So I've gone for Eze. There are alternatives at 6.5. You do have the likes of Mbimbo and Mitoma. Personally, for me, Eze is the one that I will be having in terms of my starting lineup because I think he adds more value and he's more of a talisman for Crystal Palace, and the fixtures aren't as good as Mbimbo's for Brentford, but I still think there's a lot to get through in terms of him to achieve in this first couple of game weeks. And then in terms of the forward line, I have Saka, so I haven't doubled up on Arsenal in attack. I've doubled up on them in terms of defence. With Jesus being injured, there's more likelihood of rotation around Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli. I think Odegaard and Bukayo Saka are the most nailed out of the front line for Arsenal. He did miss a penalty, by the way, in pre-season, so will he take a penalty if Jorginho's on the pitch? Will someone else get the likes of it? He's owned by 55% of managers. Now, for me personally, he's been underpriced this season. He so easily could have been 9.5, even 10 mil, 10.5 mil. People still would have brought him. I still think he can get the points tally he got last season even better. 26 returns, and Arsenal fixtures do look insane. And from an attacking perspective, I do believe that, Bukayo Saka is going to be one of the best players, even with Jesus out. Last season, Martinelli and Odegaard outperformed their XG and XA massively. They were in the top 10, I think, both players. But Saka, I think if you had to choose out of the three, he's probably the most nailed in terms of week in, week out minutes and getting a return as well. And the fixtures do look insanely good. Now, why I've gone alternative is I've gone for double Manchester United attack. So I've got Bruno Fernandes and Rashford. Now, last season, Bruno Fernandes underperformed. Now, it doesn't help with the fact that you've got a Weghorst up front who scored 1 goal for Manchester United and none of them were in the Premier League. I think with obviously the new acquisition of Højlund, Sancho playing well, you've got Garnacho, Rashford. I think with those players, he should have a better season. And after the World Cup, his stats, I think, were in terms of creating most chances was Bruno Fernandes. And we've already talked about Manchester United's fixtures, but still, he got 17 returns last year, 176 points. I do believe he can get a points tally which can touch 200. And at 8.5, again, underpriced, great value on penalties, pretty much plays every minute for Manchester United, averages like 89 minutes per game last season in the Premier League, which is insane. And the fixtures, again, we already discussed them all the way up to game week 9. I think there's some really good fixtures in there, and Bruno pretty much will be playing every single minute. Even midweek, if they have games, he will still play. And in terms of Marcus Rashford, despite getting Højlund in, I still think he's going to have a great season. 205 points last season, 24 returns, 30 goals for Manchester United for him for the first time. He says he wants to go better, 35-40, with Ten Hag kind of giving him a new challenge. 42% of managers own him. So all the managers have had the debate that if they had the extra $500,000, they'll rather go for Rashford. So I've got the benefit of having both. I am a United fan, so I think most of the goals for Manchester United, despite them not scoring much last season, I think most of their goals will come through them too. Not sure how Højlund's going to settle in, but if we get a bit more of an understanding from him, if he's cheaper and you feel that we get more output, maybe down the line I might replace him with one of the two. But for now, to the main Manchester United attackers, and with those 2 out of the 3 fixtures in the first 3 game weeks, Wolves and Forest at home, it does look insanely good, and I do want to take advantage of it because Manchester United at home last season were far better than what they were on the road. So if I can get a good start with both of them in, I know I've got Manchester United covered, Arsenal covered, and in terms of my final forward line, obviously Haaland, we know how good he is. 45 returns last year, nearly 300 points, touching 33 starts. I expect him to start the season. The fixtures for City do look good, and I've got Kevin De Bruyne covering in midfield, who I think, there is no risk of rotation initially, unless he's injured. But I think if he does get a good go, then he's going to be probably the best service alongside Haaland in terms of minutes as well from the midfield. Yes, he's worth 10.5 mil, but it's a good investment because you know you're playing for the best team in the league. Nearly 87% of managers own him. It's an insane ownership, and it'll be, you know, difficult to imagine many people going without him being captain in game week 1. So Haaland stays in, and that's what my formation looks like, guys. 4-5-1, so I had to move away from the 3-5-2. As it stands at the moment, this is what it looks like. AI rating of 97%. I'm pretty happy with it. Haaland captain, Saka vice captain. On my bench, I've got Areola, Baldock against Crystal Palace, a wing back, 4 mil, does the job. Mwamba's done well. If Antonio goes, you know, with only Ings being left as their kind of like main striker, he might get a few more starts, so it's good to have him on there as well. And Archer is just a placeholder. So for me, this is what my starting 11 looks like. This is what my team looks like, guys, a week before the first deadline. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you agree with this? Are you still going to go for 3-5-2? Are there any Liverpool players that you have in mind? Because I haven't chosen any Liverpool players. Are you going Mo Salah? Let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you for watching once again. Subscribe to FPL INKLING, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys soon with some more content very soon. Till then, take care and stay tuned.